Hey River listeners, this is
We the Kingdom.
And I'd love to share a story with you that means so much to me. When our song Miracle Power came out, honestly I had a really hard time with it at first because sometimes it's hard to sing about God's miraculous power in the face of a lot of disappointment in your life, or when you see people walking through really hard things, or when you're facing your own battles. And back in October, I remember telling God there was a very precious relationship in my life, someone who was like a sister to me. And we had a pretty abrupt ending to our relationship after some really difficult, complex circumstances about 7 years ago. So back in October, I was so discouraged, so disheartened, and I told God, like, I'm done praying about this. I'm gonna move on because it's not happening. Clearly, we're not gonna experience any restoration, so I'm done. And I just retired it. It still weighed on my heart, but I was trying not to think about it. And then in May, 7 months later, Miracle Power came out. And in our way down to play the song for one of the first times, I remember running into my friend's older sister, and she actually told me, like, hey, your friend, she's experiencing so much healing in her life. God is really moving in her life, and she wants to hang out with you soon. And I was like, there's no way this is happening. Like, I was shocked. I started crying in the airport, just so shocked. And then she texted me later and said, I want to get together. I want to talk. I want to hang. And I just found out last week that I'm going to be getting dinner with her and her family next week. And for me, like, this was so powerful because it reminded me, like, I don't want to let my disappointment define how I see God. I don't want it to put a cap or a limit on how God really is. Like, He may work in a different timeline than we think. Like, this was 7 years of, honestly, like, a lot of pain for me. And it was really difficult, just not knowing what was going to happen, seeing a big question mark on this whole situation. But I just felt like God was saying, like, hey, I've got this. Yes, there's spiritual warfare that's involved. Yes, the timeline looks different. Yes, there's all these different factors. But at the end of the day, like, I believe in miracle power. I believe that's God's heart. He wants to make all things new. He wants to bring restoration and redemption. And so I don't know what you're going through or what you're facing, or if there are any really difficult relationships in your life right now, or any, sickness you're feeling in your body, or whatever you're facing. But I just encourage you to not let your disappointment in the moment define how you see God, but to still just keep trusting and singing over your heart that He is good and He's faithful. And yes, like, it might not happen right now, but I know that if it doesn't happen now, then it's going to happen in heaven. He makes all things new in its time. And so that's what's been, like, fanning the flames of my faith in my heart. And I sang Miracle Power after, getting that text, we're going to get dinner, for the first time last night. And it just wrecked me. I couldn't even sing the song towards the end because I was crying so hard. I was just like, wow, like, of course, like, why did I doubt you, God? So just encourage you to keep believing in God. He's got you, and He works it all out.